Okay, so in today's Rambam, we're going to finish the laws of idol worshiping, and then we're going to move on to the laws of magic, the Rambam's opinion, what magic you're allowed to do and what magic you're not allowed to do. So first of all, there's 7 nations that lived in Israel when the Jews came in. The Jews were not allowed to make any peace with them. They had to right away wage war unless they would accept on themselves the 7 mitzvahs that every non-Jew has to keep. If not, then they would have to have a war with them in a nice way. You're not allowed to heal an idol worshiper. In Israel, you're not allowed to sell a house or a field to an idol worshiper. Over here it says an idol worshiper. There's a place called Syria. Syria is a place that King David conquered, so it's considered half Israel, half not. I'm not sure where this place is. It's around Syria today. I'm not sure exactly where it is. So over there you can sell them houses, but you can't sell them fields. You're only allowed to rent, at least to a guy a house, but you can't lease more than 3 houses. So 2 houses you can lease, but it can't be a house to live because then he's going to bring into it idols. You can't let that happen in Israel. So in short, you can't let any idol worship in Israel. Therefore, an idol worshiper can't buy a house or even lease or rent a house in Israel. If there is a tzedakah fund giving poor people food, so they can't differentiate between Goyim and Yidden. They have to give everybody because of Eva, because there might be a fight between the Yidden and the Goyim because of this. Same thing, when you see a guy, even if he's an idol worshiper, you should let him take from the field, the leket, what you leave. And also you should always tell him, hi, how are you doing? And even on his holiday, which you should try to stay away like until now, but you should tell him hello in a very serious tone. This is all talking about in a time when Jews are not in control. But when Jews are in control, they have power over Israel or any country they live in, they have to make sure there's not one idol existing on the whole land. And somebody that's not ready to accept this rule that you can't serve idols, they shouldn't be allowed into this country. Now we're moving on to tonight's parak, which is the laws of not going in the ways of the Goyim, which includes magic and also the way of dress, because the Jew is different than a Goy not only in the way that he thinks and the way he acts, but also the way he looks and what he does. And therefore, he can't wear the clothes that Goyim wear. He can't wear the hairstyle that the Goyim wear. If you're a barber, you can't do this hairstyle. Again, today it's different. If a guy is not an idol worshiper, you might be allowed to. But if he's an idol worshiper, over here it says idol worship. But here it says something very interesting, Ami. If there's a Jew which works in the government and he's embarrassed to sit with a different style than everyone else in their clothes or hair, he's allowed to dress like them. You can't do nachash. Nachash is an aver. What's nachash? If you walk out of your house and there's a cat walks past you. So you're saying the Jew doesn't have to wear kippah if he's a president of Ukraine? That's what it says over there. If you walk outside your house and there's a black cat or whatever the people believe in and say it's a bad day, I'm not going to go to work today, that's an avera. The Rambam is very extreme in this case. He says if you even make a sign and you say if this thing happens, if I see a cow, if I don't see any sign that you make, according to the Rambam is a avera, and you can't. It's a sin if you do it. So some people have a concept. They open up a book and they see a sign. According to the Rambam, it's a sin. There's also in the Avodah Zarah, the idol worshippers had this also concept that if an animal screams, they slaughter that animal. All these signs that people do is, he says, even Eliezer, the servant of Avram, which found Yitzchak's wife by signs, is usher. The only time it's mutter is if it's not causing you to do anything. Like Mordechai in the story of Purim, so he asked the 3 kids for the sign. And they said, Altira, and Utzu Eitza, and Vad Zikna. Those 3 psukim, and Mordechai was very happy. So the reason why he was allowed to do it, according to the Rambam, is because he didn't do anything because of that. Mordechai just said this is a good sign, Hashem is going to help us. Same to the Rambam says that you can't do any skulas. For example, putting a sefer Torah on a kid or tefillin in a kid's bed, or if you say psukim to make someone better if he's sick. According to the Rambam, you're not allowed to do that. You can say Tehillim to ensure if you're healthy or for anybody, but to like say the words to the person, the Rambam says it's a very bad thing because you make maybe kabbalistically, but the Rambam says you're not allowed to even whisper to. In other words, you can daven for somebody, but to say the words as if the words are physically healing the person is a sin according to the Rambam. You're allowed
words of Torah,
even words of Torah. So there's whenever there's a machlekes, if there's you not always go according to the Rambam. Yes.
Torah cures.
The Torah cures, but you can't say it to the sick person as if the Torah is healing the person physically. Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know what the Rambam would say to that. Then there's a sin of kaisim. What's kaisim? If somebody is doing all these things, he tries to hallucinate until he sees the future. So one of the ways doing, you roll on the sand or you hit your head on a stick until you go a little bit crazy and you start saying the future.
Like Shadrach.
So there's many people these days say the future, and the people pay them for the future. If this is a sin, and even ask, I'm sure, I don't think any rabbi will say you're allowed to do that. Go to someone to know the future. If somebody asks the person, so it's also a sin, and he also gets he gets punished by Jewish court in times of the temple. You're not allowed to be ma'inin. Ma'inin is that you're saying certain times. You look at the stars, and today in the newspaper they have you say this time is good for this time is good for that. This thing is a sin according to the Rambam. What's chayver? It's a sin to be a chayver. What's chayver? There in the olden days, especially, they used to whisper to poisonous snakes and to scorpions to make them not able to hurt somebody. And according to the Rambam, it's you're not allowed to say any of these words or any of these things unless someone was bitten already. So to calm them down, you're allowed to whisper these abracadabras. Even on Shabbos, just to calm them down. Then there's Der Shalom Mason. Der Shalom Mason, people used to try to have a conversation with a dead person. They used to go to sleep in the basic forest. First they got very hungry. Then they went to sleep in the graveyard. And then these dead people that they slept next to would come to them in a dream and they would have a conversation. So any person that tries to have a conversation with a dead person in any way is the sin of Der Shalom Mason. Being a witch is not allowed in the Torah. And it's the worst penalty in the Torah is skila, and that's the penalty for a witch. Even doing magic, the Rambam says, and you're convinced, or you try to convince other people that it's for real, is a sin. The Rambam finishes off that all these things, according to the Rambam, are not true. There's no truth to kochot hatumah, like you said before. This is the Rambam's opinion. Maybe you can learn in between the lines, but the simple meaning of the Rambam is that none of these things are true. The only true miracles are done by Moshe Rabbeinu. Even though the reason why we believe in Moshe Rabbeinu is not because he did the miracles, it's because we saw God talking to him. But miracles are only done by tzaddikim according to the Rambam. It's a good question. I'll try to figure out the answer for you. But one thing for sure, the reason why we don't ask these people, it says in the Torah, because Tamam Tiyam of regardless, even if they do say the truth, even the guy looks at your hand or looks at the stars, even though he does see the future, even if it is true, it says Tamam Tiyam, which means you have to have trust in Hashem that whatever these guys tell you, Hashem can do better. So the story we had of Rabbi Akiva, that the stargazer said that his daughter's going to die the day of her wedding. He wasn't wrong, but Hashem took care of his daughter because she did a mitzvah. So therefore, it's a waste of time to go to these people because whatever they tell you, Hashem can do better. If they say you can have 5 kids, you can have 10 kids. If they say you're gonna die at 80, you can die at 100. Because Hashem is not limited to these stargazers. Hashem controls nature, and when you have trust in Hashem, it actually makes it good. Like we say, like that, think good will be good. So not only you shouldn't waste your time going to these people because Hashem can do better, but by not going to them and by ignoring them and trusting Hashem that He's going to do even better than what they say, and you won't do the bad things they say is going to happen, that actually causes that Hashem should take care of you and give you all the good that you need. Have a good night.